Where your mind dwells, your happiness lives. The Buddha shared this simple truth more than 2,500 years ago. But have you ever truly stopped to ask yourself, where is your mind right now? Maybe your body is here, sitting still, watching this video. But your mind might be somewhere else. Maybe it's caught in a moment from the past that still hurts. Or it's rushing ahead, worrying about what tomorrow might bring. We often think that happiness comes from outside, from things, people, success, or comfort. But the truth is much more quiet and much more powerful. Your happiness depends on where your mind is focused. If your mind is trapped in regret, you suffer. If your mind is lost in fear, you suffer. But if your mind is here, fully present, open, and calm, then peace can find you. In this video, we will explore one of the Buddha's most healing teachings, the idea that where your mind rests, your happiness follows. We will go deeper into how the wandering mind creates suffering, and how we can gently train the mind to return home, to stillness, to clarity, to peace. Before we begin, if you feel drawn to this message, if you're on a journey to find more calm, understanding, and inner strength, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring these healing teachings to more people who need them. Now, let's begin. So where does suffering really begin? If you ask most people, they'll say, suffering comes from loss, from illness, from loneliness, from failure. But the Buddha, with deep clarity, saw through all of that. He taught that the real root of suffering is not what happens to us, but how our mind responds to what happens. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat in a peaceful place, maybe in your garden or near the ocean, and still felt a deep unease inside? Or maybe you're lying in bed at night. Everything around you is quiet, but your thoughts won't stop spinning? That's the wandering mind at work. Our mind has a habit, a very old habit, of leaving the present moment. It jumps to the past, digging up regrets and what-ifs. It leaps into the future, creating stories of fear and worry. And every time it does this, it drags our peace away with it. The Buddha called this dukkha, the fundamental unsatisfactoriness of life. And he showed us that dukkha isn't just caused by events. It's caused by a mind that refuses to rest in the here and now. He said, nothing can harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. And that's exactly what the wandering mind is. Unguarded. Science is now confirming what the Buddha knew centuries ago. A Harvard study found that people spend nearly 47% of their time thinking about something other than what they're doing. And this mind wandering, they discovered, is a direct cause of unhappiness, regardless of the activity itself. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're walking in nature, drinking tea, or spending time with loved ones. If your mind isn't there with you, you won't feel joy. Let's take an example. Imagine you're having breakfast with your family, but instead of truly being there, listening, smiling, enjoying the moment, your mind is worrying about your health results or thinking about a conversation from yesterday. Your body is present, but your mind has left, and the warmth of that moment, the sweetness of connection, it's lost. That's how suffering is born. Not from the situation itself, but from the mind's tendency to run away from the now. The Buddha once compared the untamed mind to a monkey, restless, jumping from branch to branch, never staying still. This is what the Buddhists call monkey mind. And when the monkey is in charge, peace is impossible. So what do? We begin by recognizing this simple truth. A mind that constantly wanders will never find peace. And no matter what you achieve, where you live, or who you're with, you will feel something is missing, unless your mind is right here. The wandering mind not only steals our joy, it also feeds suffering by repeating painful thoughts over and over again. When we relive past mistakes, we suffer them again and again, not because they're happening now, but because we allow the mind to go back there. When we fear what might happen tomorrow, we suffer in advance for a future that may never even come. And slowly, that becomes our habit. A mind stuck in a cycle of remembering and anticipating, but never resting. This is the great prison of the untrained mind. And the door to that prison isn't locked. It's simply left open because we never noticed we could walk out. But the Buddha gave us the key. He said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. And that spiritual life begins with awareness, with learning how to notice where our mind is, and gently, patiently, bringing it back home, back to the breath, back to the body, back to this very moment, the only place happiness truly lives. This is not easy, but it is simple, and it is possible for anyone at any age, in any situation, because the mind, no matter how far it wanders, can always be invited back, with kindness, with practice, and with understanding. The present moment is often described as ordinary, even boring. People say things like, "There's nothing happening right now," or "I'm just waiting for something better." But the Buddha taught us that this moment, this very breath, is the doorway to all peace and freedom. He said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment, because the present is not just a moment in time. It is where life happens. It is where everything is. When we return to the now, we return to ourselves, not the version of us shaped by old mistakes or future worries, but the real, living self, breathing, feeling, simply being. So why do we avoid it? Because the present moment asks us to stop running. It asks us to face what's really here, without distraction. And for many people, especially those who have carried pain for a long time, stillness can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is where healing begins. Think of a lake. When the water is stirred, you can't see through it. But when the water becomes still, it reflects the sky. The mind works the same way. Only when it becomes still, through the power of presence, can we see clearly. Some people wait until their later years to begin truly living in the present, perhaps because youth is busy chasing dreams and fixing regrets. But there's a quiet gift in growing older, a slowing down, a return to simple things, watching the rain fall, feeling the sun on your skin, hearing a child laugh, smelling fresh tea. These are not small things. These are life, and they can only be felt fully when the mind is here. In Buddhism, presence is not passive. It's a living awareness, a full-hearted attention to whatever is unfolding, even if it's just washing the dishes, sweeping the floor, or sipping warm soup. When done with awareness, these ordinary acts become sacred. One of the most beautiful teachings of the Buddha is that enlightenment is not far away. It's not found only in caves, temples, or mountaintops. It's found in the breath. It's found in walking mindfully, speaking kindly, listening deeply. Because the truth is, the present moment never leaves us. We are the ones who leave it. And every time we return, to our breath, to the weight of our body in the chair, to the sound of the birds outside, we return to life itself. Presence is powerful because it brings us into direct contact with reality. Not imagined fears, not painful memories, just now, just what is, and there's freedom in that. Because in the now, we're not our story. We're not our mistakes, our age, our status, or even our thoughts. We're simply awareness, alive, awake. Enough. No one can give you this moment. No one can take it away. It is always here, quietly waiting for you to come home. You don't need to chase happiness. You only need to stop living where it lives, because happiness isn't hidden in the future, and it isn't buried in the past. It's here, in the stillness you've been carrying all along. All you have to do is stop and notice. Have you ever noticed how your whole body feels different when you're angry? How even your breath shortens, your shoulders tense, and your words become sharp? Or when you're worried, how sleep becomes restless, food loses its taste, and even beautiful moments feel dim? This isn't just coincidence. It's the natural law of mind and energy. Where the mind goes, energy follows. Whatever the mind focuses on, it begins to shape. It influences our emotions, our body, our relationships, and even the way we see the world. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that the mind is the forerunner of all things. He said, with our thoughts, we make the world. So if your mind is filled with fear, you create a fearful world. If your mind is rooted in anger, you will see enemies everywhere. But if your mind is trained in kindness, you will see compassion even in pain. This teaching isn't just philosophical, it is practical. It affects the way we live, moment to moment, day by day. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people walking through a park. The first person is lost in thoughts of betrayal from years ago. They see the trees, but they don't see the beauty. They hear the birds, but they don't hear the song. They carry their pain like a heavy coat they forgot to take off. The second person is walking with mindful awareness. They feel the breeze on their skin. They see the light dancing through the leaves. They're not trying to escape the past or control the future. They are simply here, and because their mind is present, their heart is light. Same park, same moment, but two entirely different experiences because of where the mind was. The mind is like a painter. It colors the canvas of our life, not with pigments, but with thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. If you paint your day with worry, your world becomes gray. If you paint it with gratitude, your world becomes gold. So the question becomes, where are you placing your mind each day? What kind of world are you painting inside yourself? In Buddhist practice, we learn to guide the mind like we would guide a child, gently, patiently, consistently. We don't force it. We don't punish it when it wanders. But we also don't let it rule over us like a wild animal. We bring it home again and again, to the breath, to the present, to the heart. This is where real transformation happens. Not in outer achievement, but in inner attention. You might be facing health challenges. You might have experienced deep loss. You might feel alone, uncertain, or tired, but you still have the power to choose where your mind lives. Even in suffering, the mind can rest in peace. Even in uncertainty, the mind can rest in trust. One of the most powerful things you can ever say to yourself is this: I may not control what happens, but I can choose how I hold it in my mind. This is how we begin to change our relationship with life, by changing our relationship with our own thoughts. You don't need to escape to a monastery or spend years in silence. The training begins right where you are, at your kitchen table, on your morning walk, in moments of quiet or chaos. Each time you choose to return to awareness, to gratitude, to compassion, you are planting seeds of joy inside your mind. And with time, those seeds bloom. They become your refuge. They become your home. Because where your mind dwells, there your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life takes shape. Sometimes, the most powerful teachings don't come through theory, but through stories. Stories that carry the quiet truth of human experience. There was once an old man who had carried anger in his heart for decades. His younger brother had betrayed him in a business deal many years ago. Since then, he refused to speak with him, refused to forgive. Even though both were now in their 70s, one day, the older brother fell seriously ill. Lying in the hospital bed, he felt his life drawing near its final chapters. He began to reflect, not on wealth, not on success, but on the weight of that bitterness he had carried for so long. And suddenly, he realized something. The betrayal had happened only once, but he had suffered it 1,000 times. In his thoughts, in his sleepless nights, in his angry silence. He had been physically free all those years, but mentally imprisoned. What made that moment powerful wasn't just the regret, but the awakening. He asked to see his brother again. They talked. They cried. They held hands. And in that quiet reunion, decades of suffering dissolved. It wasn't the past that had caused him the most pain. It was the mind that refused to let go of it. This is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. The suffering we carry is often a result of where we allow our mind to stay. There's also a parable told in many Buddhist traditions, the story of a man shot by 2 arrows. The first arrow is the event itself, the painful thing that happens. The second arrow is everything the mind adds after. Why me? What did I do wrong? This always happens to me. I'll never recover. The Buddha said, while we cannot avoid the first arrow, we can avoid the second. In modern life, Many people are being pierced over and over by their own second arrows. A harsh word someone said years ago. A mistake they made in their youth. A fear of what the future might hold. The event is long gone, but the mind is still holding it. Another well-known Buddhist story speaks of a group of monks traveling with their teacher. As they walked along a muddy road, they saw a young woman standing at the edge of a stream. She was dressed in fine clothes and afraid to cross. Without hesitation, the teacher picked her up and carried her across. Later that day, one of the younger monks asked in frustration, "Master, why did you carry that woman? We are monks. We shouldn't touch women." The teacher smiled gently and replied, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story cuts deep. How often do we carry things long after they've passed? Resentments, judgments, stories of right and wrong, moments that could have been released, if only we had let the mind rest. In the teachings of the Buddha, the mind is like a field. Whatever we plant, it will grow. If we plant seeds of anger, we reap suffering. If we plant seeds of forgiveness, we reap freedom. If we plant seeds of mindfulness, we reap clarity. And if we plant seeds of compassion, we reap connection. The stories we've just heard are not ancient myths. They are reflections of our daily lives. Your life, my life, everyone's journey. And they remind us of this simple truth. We are not powerless. We are not doomed to repeat the past. We are not victims of our thoughts. We are the ones who choose where our mind rests. We are the ones who choose what story to carry and which to let go. No one else can do that for us. That is both the challenge and the gift. You may not be able to change what has happened, but you can change your relationship to it. And that shift, quiet, internal, profound, is where healing begins. It begins with seeing clearly, it deepens with compassion, and it is sustained by practice, because when the mind finally comes home, when it no longer runs from moment to moment, clinging to old hurts or chasing future outcomes, then life becomes lighter. The heart becomes softer, and happiness, no longer a distant goal, becomes a quiet companion. Bringing the mind home isn't a mystical idea. It's something deeply human, something anyone can begin at any age, in any place, and it starts with simple steps. Here are 5 practices that can help you gently guide your mind back home, back to the present, back to clarity, and back to peace. Step 1. Begin each day with a mindful breath and a moment of gratitude. Before you reach for your phone, before you open your calendar, pause. Take one deep, conscious breath. Feel it enter your body and feel it leave. Then, name one thing you're grateful for. It might be your health, your family, or even the chance to live another day. This small ritual sets the tone for the entire day. It tells your mind, gently, we begin here. We begin with awareness. The Buddha taught, a disciplined mind brings happiness. That discipline doesn't have to be harsh. It can be gentle. It can begin with one breath. Step 2. Notice when your mind is wandering. The mind will drift. It's its nature. But what matters is whether we notice it. You don't have to judge it, criticize it, or try to stop it forcefully. Just become aware. Oh, my mind is in the past again. Oh, I'm rehearsing future fears. This act of noticing is already a form of mindfulness. Awareness breaks the cycle of unconscious wandering. With time, you'll see your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. Not permanent, not personal, not a problem. Step 3. Create a daily habit of stillness. It doesn't need to be an hour of meditation. Even 5 minutes of sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, can shift everything. Sit in a comfortable spot. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel your breath moving in and out. And every time your mind drifts, gently bring it back. Think of it like training a puppy, not with anger, but with kindness and consistency. Each time you return to the breath, you are bringing your mind home. Each time, you are rewriting the habit of suffering. Step 4. Be mindful of what you feed your mind. Just like the body, the mind becomes what it consumes. The words you read, the conversations you have, the media you watch, all of it becomes part of your inner landscape. If you surround yourself with negativity, judgment, or noise, Don't be surprised if your mind feels scattered and heavy. But if you choose nourishment, uplifting words, peaceful silence, wise teachings, your mind will begin to reflect that inner peace. The Buddha said, "Whatever one frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of the mind." So choose what you plant. Choose what you water. Step 5. Let go of what the mind doesn't need to carry. The mind loves to hold on to regrets, old wounds, imagined fears. But not everything the mind clings to is useful, and much of what we carry is heavier than we realize. Ask yourself gently, is this thought helping me or hurting me? Do I need to keep carrying this story? Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the grip of suffering. It means allowing space to breathe. There's a Zen saying, let go or be dragged. Sometimes peace is just one release away. These 5 steps aren't meant to be perfect. You will forget. You will drift. You will fall back into old habits. That's okay. Each time you return, you grow stronger. Each time you remember, you deepen your path. The goal is not to silence the mind, but to befriend it, to guide it, to live with it in harmony, rather than in conflict. Because the more time your mind spends in awareness, the more happiness becomes your natural state, not a rare moment, but a way of being. Where the mind goes, life follows. If the mind is tangled in worry, life feels heavy. If the mind rests in awareness, life becomes light. And as we've explored together, the mind is not fixed, not chained, not doomed to wander forever. It can be trained, it can be softened, it can come home. This is the great invitation of the Buddha's teaching, that your happiness is not found in chasing, running, achieving, or escaping, but in returning to this breath, this moment, this life, just as it is. Right now, wherever you are, pause. Close your eyes if you feel safe to. Take a breath. Slow and full, feel what it means to be alive. Right here, right now. Can you sense the quiet underneath the noise? Can you feel the stillness beneath your thoughts? That stillness has always been there. It is your original home. It's where peace lives, not in some distant future, not after you fix yourself, but now, in your awareness. The Buddha did not promise a life without difficulty. He promised a path through it, and that path begins with the mind. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The Dhammapada, you are not broken. Your mind is not your enemy. It's simply been lost in the noise of the world, just like so many others. But now you know how to bring it back, with breath, with attention, with love. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to master meditation or reach some spiritual height. You only have to begin. Begin with one breath, one step, one moment of kindness toward yourself. And in that beginning, you've already shifted something. You've already moved from suffering to presence, from chaos to clarity, from wandering to home. So as you go about your day, remember this. Happiness isn't something you chase. It's something you come home to. And the home is always here. Not outside, not tomorrow, but inside your own mind, your own heart. Where the mind rests, the heart heals. Where the heart heals, peace returns. Where peace returns, life blossoms, just as it is. Thank you for sharing this moment of reflection with me. If this video has brought even a little calm, a little insight, a little warmth to your day, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need this message. May your mind grow still, may your heart be light, and may you always remember, where your mind is, there your happiness will be.